Oh, it's the last time we get to see it! Don't you dare! Don't you dare toy with me! Who could it be that's gonna warrant this much build-up? They're getting turned back into trophies. Is it Taboo? Is Taboo the final character? I didn't even consider Taboo. God, the tension in this trailer is ridiculous. Is it fucking Dark Souls? It couldn't be fucking Dark Souls. Who is it? No fucking way! It's fucking Sora! Oh my god! No, my god! My LPs have come together in beautiful union! Oh, holy shit! That's amazing! They got a fucking deal with Disney! They fucking locked it in with fucking Disney! Our boy is here! I'm gonna be a goddamn Keyblade Master! Oh my god, I'm not gonna lie, this might be the hypest god. I am happy about this. I'm excited to see how mad this is making you both.
Let's go!
He's finally here! Wait, alright. I'm down with this. I'm very down with Sora. Sora, I've been saying for a long time Sora's moveset would be fantastic for this game. Sora's classic mode is the light that clears the darkness. In this one, Sora basically fights a bunch of enemies who serve as stand-ins for Kingdom Hearts' many enemies. So, first of all, we have a battle against a Link and a young Link. These represent the Soldier Heartless. Heartless, of course, being manifestations of darkness, enemies that spawn when someone's heart is forcibly removed. Usually by other Heartless. Or fucked up science experiments. And speaking of Heartless, in this battle, which takes place in a stand-in for Olympus, we have a bunch of Shadows, Neo Shadows, and one very big, very dangerous Darkseid, as represented by Mr. Game & Watches of varying sizes. Taking out swathes of Heartless is kind of the core gameplay loop of Kingdom Hearts, so it's nice to see it represented here. Next up, you have the battle against Cloud Strife himself in Kingdom Hearts 1, where he rocks a comically edgy, Vincent-inspired design. This fight was really goddamn hard, and for that reason was optional to win, but sadly you do have to win this one to progress. By the by, if not for the fact that DLC characters can't appear in Classic Mode, Sephiroth would totally have a fight here, and it would be sick. Oh, the organization! So for this battle, we have 3 members of Organization 13. Obviously, we can't get all of them in one fight. That would be a fucking lot to deal with. The Kalos Pokemon League stage represents Castle Oblivion from Chain of Memories, the game where you first tussle with them. And the members in particular we are fighting are Vexen, Larxene, and a very big, very final bossy Marluxia. I will say, should have given him the Death Scythe. Get fucked, Marluxia. This next battle is against a big fuck-off behemoth, particularly the behemoth at the end of Kingdom Hearts 1, who you fight within a big dark void at the end of the world. So, yeah, this fight is either really fucking hard or really easy, depending on how much this Ganondorf wants to get juggled. One thing Kingdom Hearts really likes to do is have you battle against dark versions of established characters, and that is incredibly apparent in Dream Drop Distance, where the final boss where you play as Riku, is against the Armored Ventus Nightmare. Basically, a Sora who is engulfed by dark armor and possessed into fighting his best friend. And wrapping it up, we have, fittingly for the final classic mode, a standard Master Hand Crazy Hand final battle. Personally, I think a battle against Darkon would have been perfect here, but that would be spoilers for the main campaign. Boosh. There we are, just hanging out on the beach. Wishing that Donald or Goofy could have come with us, but copyright. Alright, so with that, let's take a look at the Kingdom Hearts DLC Spirits, the final set of DLC Spirits. It's so nice for this screen to be complete now. It feels good. So, there are only 8 of them. No Disney characters, obviously, or, you know, legacy Disney characters. No Donald Duck, basically. But we do have Kairi, so here we go. Kairi is one of Sora's best friends, along with Riku, and she is raised alongside him on the Destiny Islands, despite the fact that she originally comes from Hollow Bastion, or Radiant Garden. Anyway, Kairi is a Princess of Hearts, so she, along with many other Disney princesses, has a pure heart. She's a pure good character with not a hint of darkness within her. And that makes her a valuable asset for many evil Disney villains and organizations. Main villain Xehanort especially. Hence why a lot of Kairi's time is spent being a damsel in distress. And by the time Kingdom Hearts 3 rolls around, she is actually able to fend for herself with her own Keyblades. Obviously, for this battle, she's being defended by Sora, partly because he's her hero, and partly because she took refuge in his body for a good chunk of the first game. And speaking of characters who basically coexist within Sora's heart and body, we have Ventus. This is gonna get wild. We're talking about Kingdom Hearts deep lore now. In Birth by Sleep, Ventus is a Keyblade wielder who is experimented on by the evil Master Xehanort. His good half and his evil half are split into 2 entities, hence why we've got the Sora and the Dark Samus representing Ventus and Vanitas. And when the 2 of them combine, creating Vanitas, they gain the ability to use the Keyblade. That's key as in the Greek letter, not the word key, which will allow them to basically summon Kingdom Hearts and create all kinds of fucked up shit. So, yeah, obviously most of Birth by Sleep is spent making sure that doesn't happen, because that wouldn't be good. And it gets to the point where they have to knock Ventus into a coma for 10 years. During that time, when Ventus is in a coma, he basically lives vicariously through Sora, a 4-year-old, at the time, island-dwelling boy who reached out to him and saved him after his heart-rending torture. An act which gave Sora the ability to use the Keyblade in the first place. I fucking love this series. So, here we have Aqua. Aqua is part of Ventus's found family after his horrifying ordeal, and she is the first character in the series to actually ascend to the role of Keyblade Master. She does so at the beginning of Birth by Sleep, being the most rational, sensible, and intelligent character in the whole series, and unfortunately, while she does try to unravel all the fucked up shit happening around her, she is a little bit too late and ends up banished to the realm of darkness for 10 years, i.e. hell. So, within that time, she is...
Aqua got Norded!
What?
Aqua got Norded!
That's not words, that's sounds.
I want her to step on me.
Yes, so she gets corrupted and possessed by Xehanort, prompting Sora to save her in Kingdom Hearts 3. And in case you're wondering why Crystal is here, that is because Aqua's whole gimmick is, aside from being blue and having blue hair, using magic efficiently. So here we have Crystal using ice magic due to the fact that Lucina can't do it herself. Get owned. Feels like this moment is Crystal staring at the character who took her spot on the roster. And wrapping up with the Birth by Sleep trio, we have Terra. Friend to both Ventus and Aqua, But at the beginning of the game, he actually fails his Keyblade Mastery exam, so feeling a little bit lost and confused, and also being led astray by an at the time seemingly benevolent Master Xehanort, Terra, much like his companions, decides to flit around the different Disney worlds. But being such a gullible himbo, ends up manipulated by every Disney villain, and ends up forming bonds with all of them, before eventually getting fully Norted and becoming Xehanort's new body. So, Ashley there? That was Maleficent, if you can believe it. Disney's Maleficent. So, moving back to Sora's circle of friends, we have Riku. Riku, in the first game, is confident, cocky, very sure of himself, and wants to go on an adventure with you and Kairi. But when things go a bit pear-shaped and you end up pairing up with Donald Duck and Goofy, Riku kind of takes that personally and ends up getting manipulated by Maleficent, much like Terra, the very same man who gave him the ability to use the Keyblade, and slowly becomes evil, and is the first character in the series, not chronologically, but the first character in the game series to get Norted, proving to be one of the more difficult endgame bosses. This whole experience, even though he is redeemed from it, does give him a connection with his dark side, more so than Sora, so he is able to use the power of darkness, and uses it well. That's why there was a black hole at the beginning of this fight. That was Riku wielding his darkness powers, and while a lot of his original jealousy did stem from the fact that Sora got the power to use the Keyblade, he did eventually, after his redemption, gained the power to summon and use his own. On top of that, he also managed to beat Sora in terms of becoming a fully fledged Keyblade Master, so well, hey, character developments. Alright, next is Xion. Oh, holy shit, how do I summarize this? Okay, so while Sora was out of commission for a year, having his memories restored and everyone else's memories of him restored, he was basically replaced by a artificial puppet created by the organization named Xion. They based Xion on the data that they extracted from Sora's mind, and that is why she kind of looks like Kairi, but only to Roxas. When anyone else looks at her, they see who they want to see. And Al Delfino there is a stand-in for the clock tower where she'd like to hang out with Roxas and Axel here. Axel is one of the members of the organization, originally named Lee before he had his body fucked with. And during the time that he was an organization member, and yes, this Kalos Pokemon League does represent Castle Oblivion once again, he was basically something of a turncoat. He didn't really care much for the plans of Xehanort, he was just trying to get by. And he ends up forming a friendship with both Xion and Roxas, despite the fact that Xehanort, I keep saying Xehanort, Xemnas, one of Xehanort's forms, basically gaslights them all into believing that they don't have emotions, or the capacity for friendship. They do. Axel gets a Keyblade at the end of Dream Drop Distance, and finally we have Roxas. Oh my god, this is a rabbit hole. Okay, at the end of Kingdom Hearts 1, when Sora realizes that he is harboring the hearts of Kairi and all of the Disney princesses, somehow, he basically martyrs himself. He stabs himself in the chest and turns himself into a Heartless in order to save everyone. He does so, and miraculously, being Sora, he's able to come back from being a Heartless. However, when someone turns into a Heartless, the body they leave behind also turns into a Nobody. And the Nobodies are who form the organization for the most part. So, Roxas is Sora's Nobody who shouldn't exist or coexist with Sora at the same time. So when Sora comes out of his year-long memory-restoring coma, Roxas, at that point, basically has to fuse back into his body and lose his sense of self, which ends Kingdom Hearts 2's overly long tutorial. And, yeah, near the end of Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix version, you have a moment near the end of the game where Sora goes into his own mind and ends up having an actual full-on boss fight against Roxas, who is, for all intents and purposes, a part of him. And in said boss fight, Roxas is fully powered. He has the power to use 2 Keyblades, a power that he essentially passes on to Sora. Hence why we have a Sora here who originally was wielding 2 weapons. That was his dual wielding. And if you're wondering why Roxas looks like Ventus, that's because, of course, Ventus is part of Sora and always has been. So part of Sora extracted from him would look like Ventus. And incidentally, by accident, I created the post-credit secret movie battle between Roxas and Riku there. Isn't that neat? Whew. Alright, I'm gonna buy you some Sora costumes. And with that, we have unlocked all, I can't believe I'm saying this, 13 of the Kingdom Hearts spirits. So, few more patched in spirits to do, and then I'm gonna call the LP here. We have the Raisewing Ratha. This spirit was added in to tie in with Monster Hunter Stories 2, the second installment of Monster Hunter's RPG spin-off series. In this series, you play as a monster rider named Leo, or at least that's the male default name, and you actually fight alongside monsters. So for that reason, we had a Monster Hunter wearing the appropriate armor, and a Charizard to represent the Ratha. And you're done. Wait, what the fuck? Did you just tech me? Did you just goddamn tech me? Bro. Bro, we don't allow those here. Get out. There we go. So, finally, we have 3 spirits from Metroid Dread, the Metroid game that took 20 years to come out, but was well worth the goddamn wait. So, here we are battling Samus herself from Metroid Dread, wearing her really fucking snazzy new armor. Here represented by the Varia suit, because that's the closest thing to it. You'll notice that in the stage, we're battling in a stage with the Parasite Queen in the background. That is because the planet ZDR, and yes, I call it ZDR, actually features a fuckload of parasites, not to spoil too much. So, yeah. Also, a Metroid itself actually comes in to assist Samus, because at this point in the series, since this is post-fusion, Samus basically is a Metroid now. And harboring Metroid DNA makes her a target of the extraplanetary multiform mobile identifiers, or the EMMIs. These robots are what make Metroid Dread more of a survival horror than any other Metroid game. They are fast, they are dangerous, they stalk you around, and if they find you, they instantly impale and kill you. They are really hard to kill. You have to unlock a certain power and then unlock their weak point, hence that invincibility on that Rob. And last of all, wrapping it all up, we have the Chozo soldiers. The planet ZDR is one of the homes of the Chozo, so Samus being raised by them has a lot of nostalgia for it, naturally. And here are some of the soldiers, all played by Falco, because the Chozo are bird people, and that's wonderful. Get dunked on, and with that, 60 episodes, yo. I think it's time to call this an official finale. So, if more spirits come out, and they will, I'll be covering those in my playing online videos, and they'll come out when I feel like making them. So, thanks from the bottom of my heart for watching this far.